filthy. Hello, this is Dark Star Mike, and I'm here with a really dirty cat. A couple weeks ago, the governor has closed all of the non-essential businesses here in Las Vegas, and because of that, he closed the gyms, and because of that, there was a run on gym equipment throughout the department stores and the big boxes. So you really can't get any exercise equipment right now. So what I'm going to do today to help you out is, or to help myself out at least, is we're going to fabricate a homemade weight system and a bench and some dumbbells. So let's see how this is going to work. Okay, so we bought these really inexpensive Teflon cake pans. I think they're about $1.25 a piece, and these are going to work pretty well as molds. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure this to see how deep it is, and then we're going to use one of the PVC pipes as a center, probably the 1.25 inches. So let's see, it's about just under 2 inches. We're going to say 1 3/4. Okay, so now we're going to have to cut one of these PVCs to that size. Okay, hi. So now we're going to want to put together the dumbbell part. And in order to do that, I'm using these kind of Tupperware, kind of disposable. I think they're about 64 ounces. So they're pretty good, about 3/4, something like that. And in order to do that, I've cut off some PVC tubing. These are about 4 inches deep. I took this to about 4.5 inches long of 1 1/4 PVC tubing. And you could pound some nails through this. You're going to need to do something at the bottom to create some anchors. Otherwise, these will just slip out of the concrete. They're not going to really take hold. I'm going to just use some construction screws simply because I have so many of these around. These are 2 1/4 construction screws, and what we're going to do is we're just going to try and jam them right through here. And this is not going to be easy because I don't have a vise here. Once you get it through, then you just want to jam it all the way through. Like that. And then you're going to want to do it a second time or maybe a third in kind of a T motion so that you have kind of a cross-grabbing, cross-fire hurricane here, you know? Okay. Okay, it's about good. Make it a little even. Okay, so you see that? Now we have that in there. Now from there, what we want to do next is we want to stuff the top of it with cotton because we don't want any concrete getting into there because we're going to need that later on. Okay, so now, like the dumbbells, you want to set this in first, but for these, we really want to pour the concrete first. So we're going to mix up some concrete, and then I'm going to pour it, and then we'll work from there. Okay, so we have our concrete. It's pretty well mixed up. It has a nice muddy texture, consistency, viscosity, if you will, and we're going to just pour that right in there. Not all the way yet. So I want to get this in here. And we're going to try and center that a little bit and then pour the rest. Okay. And it doesn't have to go to the bottom, okay? Because we want that concrete to set into the tube and into those cross braces, I guess you'd call them. And then you're going to want to get this as close to the top as possible. So I think that should work pretty well. Use your trowel to just try and smooth it out. Like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's centered, and then we're going to let it set for 24 hours. Okay. And this will make sure it's on a level plane so that it sets properly. In about 20 minutes or so, you'll see some of the water coming to the top. You might want to, and the rest of it hardening at the bottom. You want to maybe spill that out if you want. And there we are. And we'll come back to that soon enough. And we have 2 of them. Okay, so we have our free weights and our dumbbells. They've already been dunked in water and they've been allowed to dry. They've coagulated for 24 hours. So what we want to do now is try and, grind off some of the rough edges, but before we give it a coating, and perhaps some of the plastic if it's protruding beyond the natural surface of the free weight. For the dumbbells, we want to keep that protrusion so that we have something to grab onto when we put a free bar between it. So, what do you think you're doing? Out of the way. Okay, so we have a grinder here, and we're gonna just make sure we have our personal protective equipment on. It would be glasses, face shield, side shields, which I don't have, and at least gloves. And then we're gonna try and grind down the corners. Now we just want to get all the dust, everything off here. Actually, we're going to knock this thing down a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so we've grinded down the corners to make it a little bit safer, at least a little less hazardous. And now what we want to do is we want to put a little bit of cotton in the centers here, just so that we don't have paint buildup in the centers of the free weights. So let's just shove some of that in there. And some in the dumbbells as well. And a little bit here. Okay, very good. Now, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna try and give it a coating. Some people might be painting it. I find that it might be better to use something like this. It's like a Rust-Oleum undercoat. It's a rubberized kind of paint, so it gives it a little bit more give. If you were to drop the weight, it's going to be less likely to crack. You're going to have a little more cushion there around the free weights, and they will crack if you drop them far and hard enough. So we're going to be using this, and we're going to give it a good coating, and then we're going to come by, flip it over after it's dried, and this does dry in about 15-20 minutes. So then we can come back and do the other side, and then we'll wait for that to dry, and then we should be good to go. I think that looks pretty good. We'll wait for this to dry. We'll come by, do the other side, and then see what we got. Okay, we're back, and we have allowed our dumbbells to set and harden, and we've painted them in a rubberized spray paint, which should give it a little bit of give if they are to be dropped at some point. And now we need to attach the dumbbells using the 1-inch PVC that we bought before. Now, because we set these sort of irregularly with the, as you remember, the nails or the screws or the pins inside here, which kind of hold it, the PVC, the 1 1/4-inch PVC to the cement. We're going to need to find out how deep the depth of that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 1-inch PVC, and then we're going to set it in here to see just how deep it is. And then from there we're going to write, put a little bit of a mark there to where that one is. And then we're going to take the other side, and then we're going to find out how deep that is, and we're going to mark that. Okay. So for this one, and I guess we got to choose one or the other, it's approximately 2 1/4 inches deep. Okay, so what we're going to do here then is we're going to set this into the first one, and then we're going to find a comfortable grip that you would feel comfortable with. And then each hand is different, but if you want to set it generally, it looks like about maybe 5 inches, 4.5, something like that. And then from there, where your grip is, you're going to put your additional 2.5 inches of room for the other dumbbell. So we're going to take that there, and we're going to mark off 2 1/4 actually inches here. And then that is where we're going to do our cut, okay? And we're going to cut that and come right back to you. Okay, so I'm going to use a jigsaw on this. And then we'll get a little bit of sandpaper, just kind of get off some of the furs of the PVC. Next, we're going to connect the two, and we're going to do that using Christie's Red Hot Blue Glue. Basically, it's PVC cement, and that's going to allow this to set. I believe this takes about, I don't know, maybe a half hour to set, so it's pretty quick. It's pretty tough to open too. I got to get a wrench. Okay, to the people of Christie's Red Hot Blue Glue, make it a little bit more reasonable to open. Okay, so take that, and then make sure it's pretty clean on the inside of these. You don't want it to be filled with some of the mud or the paint left over. So you want it to be relatively clean. And then this comes with an applicator, and you're just gonna douse it on like this, rather liberally, because it's always better to be liberal. Okay. And jam that in there, and then we're gonna put the other side in here, and then voila, tighten it up. So we're going to allow this to set, and after it does, then we're going to have dumbbell number 1, and then we're going to do the same to the other 2, okay? And then we'll have our dumbbell set, okay? So now coming to part 2 of our little, we have our free weights here, okay? Our little pie pans. I'd say these, if I had to guess, were about maybe 15 or 20 pounds a piece. Maybe 20. Okay, so we have about 4 of these here, and we're gonna go now to the weight bench bar that we had to cut. So, this is the bar. This is a 1-inch PVC, or not PVC, 1-inch conduit, steel conduit. Okay, and it came in a 10-foot length, but that was too long, so I cut it down to about 8 feet. And what I did is I added, we're going to need some sort of a stopper here in order to make certain that the weights just don't fly off willy-nilly. We don't want that. And so I used some of this aluminum flashing kind of tape because it's thick, you know, you could roll it up, and you're going to roll it up approximately 2 feet from each end. Now, that's based on the weight bench that I have constructed here. So you'll see that I built this thing. I'm not going to go through how I built it. I'm going to put a link in the comment section in which you can see the nice man who did build it just like this. But it's not too difficult. It's primarily just 2x4s and 1 plank. I painted it in 2 separate tones because these are the only colors of sample paint that I had lying around, and 1 sample wasn't enough to do the whole thing, so I did the bench in the blue and the other one in what it looks like maybe hot pink or something. So the way that works here is that it's kind of balanced perfectly, and that you have about 2 inches from either side of the bench holder to where you're putting the your stopper. Basically, the aluminum tape, or you could use masking tape or duct tape, but you're going to have to really wind it up, okay? And but I use this. This is really a wonderful product. And I think it's only $12 for this big roll. It's aluminum flashing, and it's got this like thick kind of tar, so it's very useful. Okay, so now after that, as we remember, we have 1-inch holes diameters in each of the free weights, or 1 1/4. That's right, 1 1/4. Now, this is a 1-inch diameter free weight bench, so we're going to be able to throw these on here. All right. And I got a couple more. And of course, you know, you have a pie pan, you have cement. Cement is really cheap. You could go with a bigger pie pan. If you're going to do that, you're probably going to want to use some sort of a steel or mesh rebar within the concrete so that it doesn't come apart. When it's this small in the pie pan, you're really not going to have that problem, but the larger you go, the more weight it is, the more likely the concrete could break. So, in order, you know, if you want to make it bigger, you can, but you're going to want to reinforce it with something. Okay. So we have these on here, which looks pretty good. Now, what I did is I used a metal drill bit, which I believe is a 1/4-inch metal drill bit, and I drilled a hole just beyond where 2 of those weights are, because I'm gonna drill them like, you know, maybe every 6 inches or so right here. So you can see there's a hole that's drilled straight through, all right? And from there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert our collarless hitch pin, okay? So this is gonna secure the weights to make certain they don't slide off one way or another. And this is a 1/4-inch, about 1 3/4 inch long collar, and it has a little ring on it at the end, and it has a little kind of pin at the very bottom, you know, like 50 cents. And there, we're gonna put it through the hole there, and then that's gonna secure that. And then we'll do the same on this one. Make sure you get all the plastic off. And make sure it goes all the way through. Okay. Now, one thing that you're going to want to do when you're drilling, or after you're drilling, there you go, is you're going to want to take some sandpaper or steel wool or a Dremel or something like that and get off all those metal burrs after you've been drilling with metal. Whenever you drill with metal, you're gonna get burrs. Burrs are dangerous, they cut you. It's never a fun thing, it's bloody. So you have a secured weight bench there, and it pretty much works. I don't know exactly how much it is, but yeah, it's not much. So I'd say this is maybe about 40 pounds. And one of the reasons is because the bar itself is hollow. Now, as you add more weight, you're going to want to secure that bar. And what you can do there is you could fill it with cement if you want to. There's a couple different ways you can do that. I'm not going to go into that right now, but it is a pretty strong bar. I mean, it's thick. And we're going to come back to you in a little bit after our dumbbells have been set. Hi there. Okay, we're going to be playing with this stuff and doing this. How you doing? It's Darkstar Mike. It's a little bit later in the day, and we've had some opportunity to allow the dumbbell handles to set. The PVC cement has cured inside our 1 and then 1 1/4 PVC tubes that we use, and these worked out okay. You know, I'd say for these 64-ounce containers, each one of these would weigh about, I'd say 30 pounds maybe. So that's not too bad. You could go bigger, you know, or smaller depending on what you're into. Also, because I was kind of not really impressed with the pie pans, I'd say each one of those yielded about a 10-pound weight. What I did was I used a Home Depot bucket. You know, they're available everywhere. And I cut some PVC to about 2 inches. So it's about a 2-inch depth. And then poured some quick setting concrete there. And I got this, which is a pretty good size weight. And I'd say this is about, it's still a little bit tacky from the paint. I probably shouldn't be picking this up. But I'd say it's about 20 pounds, you know, maybe twice of what the pie pan is, maybe 25 possibly. And so, because I only have one bucket, I'm gonna have to wait for each one to set and set. So, you know, over time I should be able to amass, you know, maybe 6 of these or something like that to be able to really have a nice workout. But that's about it. So, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back to bring you some more cost-cutting measures in the age of COVID-19. Thanks a lot. Take care.